Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Today I've got for you 10 different fragrances, both niche and designer, that will help give you skibbity riz. Oh, my contact. That's brain rot for fragrances that will get you noticed and give you a confidence boost and just have you smelling amazing. Are you the Rizzler? So yeah, 10 different fragrances that are gonna have you smelling absolutely amazing. All of them linked in the description. Feel free to check them there. And also linked in the description, you will find a link to a sale, a 48-hour sale. Technically, this is a super early Black Friday sale. Super early Black Friday. Like really early. But I would imagine there's gonna be also an actual Black Friday sale when that comes around, but whatever. So that's linked in the description, and it has a lot of markdowns on Parfums de Marly. That sale is gonna end on the 29th of this month, so if you're watching this video in the future, sorry, not going on anymore, I guess. At least if it's after the 29th that you're watching it of this month, of this year. 11:59 p.m. Eastern is when it technically ends on that day. Like I said, just lots of PDMs being marked off. So if you've been looking for any of them, really, you should go ahead and check it out, see what's there, check the prices, contrast, compare, see if it works for you. The code is BF. So that's the code that you want to use, BF. I feel like, yeah, it's missing a G on the end, but you know, whatever, BF. And there are a lot of other fragrances outside of Parfums de Marly as well. Bond Number 9 has some stuff there. Tiziana Terenzi, Christian Dior, Tom Ford, Xerjoff, Amouage, Mancera. There's a bunch of different things. It's just, I know Parfums de Marly is the biggest part of this sale, and that's what a lot of people are looking for. So again, that is linked in the description. So check that sale out, look through all the goods that are in there, and if you want to order anything, use that code BF. Let's get started with the list. First up, West Loop by me. And no, this is not a part of the official list. I've actually got 10 other fragrances. I actually just had a bottle right there and grabbed it and was like, I'm gonna put that in there. You know what, I'll make it scent of the day. Let's go. So West Loop is a fragrance that I creatively directed. It's released underneath the Michael Malul X Gents Scents line. You can find it in every Perfumania, every fragrance outlet store in the country, and you can also find it at Michael Malul's website, which is also linked in the description. There's a lot of stuff linked down there. Look at that, it's a box. Has all the notes listed on the back right there, so you can read through it if you ever desire. Almond blossom, toasted cinnamon, vanilla orchid in the top. Myrrh, lavender, tobacco leaf, patchouli, amberwood, tonka. It's amazing. The fragrance itself, really nice, sweet, extremely easy to wear, versatile, and has a nice floral tone to it that makes it work very well for women or men, either one. And this fragrance in the air, I am telling you guys, is lights out. This is a compliment monster, which is the whole reason it is how it is. I wanted something that was sweet, that was really appealing, that in the air was just magnetic, but that didn't smell the same as, like, you know, Stronger With You, Scandal, The Most Wanted, that style. I wanted sweetness, just not that. So this is one that I just kind of, by the seat of my pants, have put into this list. There it is. Now the actual top 10. ALTHAIR starting up first, Parfums de Marly. Kind of goes in nicely with that whole sale thing. The rest of the fragrances in this list, I don't think are actually in that sale, but this one is. Not planned, but it works out however it works out. Cinnamon, cardamom, vanilla, praline, and orange blossom, some of the notes in this fragrance. Great for fall and winter time. It is, as you would guess by that note breakdown, quite sweet. But this thing right here is just sexy, cozy, and magnetic all at once. It's one of those fragrances that when people smell it, they want to smell it again and again and again. And I feel personally that Parfums de Marly does their cool weather fragrances usually a little bit better than their warm weather ones. They just have a little more of that attention-grabbing feel that people really go for from the brand. I mean, there are a couple for warm weather that do that very well, but when you look at their cool weather fragrances, it's just like, you know, a murderer's row of fragrances. And this one, actually, I would pretty much slot right up there with Layton, just as far as how well it does what it does. Both of those you cannot go wrong with when it's cool outside. Let's go next with Ambassador Intense. This is from Jasada. And frankly, the presentation looks cheap. at least to me. Kind of a little stock bottle with like this matte black finish to it that kind of picks up fingerprints and then has like discolored looking parts. A magnetic cap, but it feels kind of cheap, and the atomizer is not great. That being said, the fragrance itself, big time versatility. Another massive compliment puller with great performance also. It's a little bit similar to Dior Sauvage Elixir, the way that it comes across, but there are noticeable differences. So this has licorice in it, it has cardamom, tonka, and vanilla as well, and then raspberry, a good amount of raspberry actually. And that's gonna be one of the main differentiators between this and Sauvage Elixir. So that licorice vibe, you know, that's gonna pull it in closer to Sauvage Elixir, but then this has way more of that sweetness, that fruity sweetness with like a tiny tart edge that Sauvage Elixir does not have. Sauvage Elixir stays more woody, spicy, extremely masculine, very powerful, whereas this one sweetens things up a little bit and takes some of the focus off of the woods and spices in comparison. Still, this stuff works amazingly well, and most of your average people out there don't know what this is. So it gives you something that's a little more unique. Unique in the sense that people aren't wearing it as much. After that, Hugo Boss Bottled Absolute. This is my jam. I love this fragrance. It's really good. It's really, really good. It's another one with kind of a crappy atomizer. Ugh, yeah, that atomizer actually super sucks. Incense, leather, patchouli, myrrh, and Davana. Some of the notes in the fragrance here. Also have a little bit of woodiness in the base there as well. When you first spray it on, it almost smells like it could be a tobacco fragrance because it has this sweet, warm, spicy vibe. And that does linger through the fragrance. And at times, like the smokiness that comes through here, you know, that bit of smoke from the incense makes you think even more so that it could be tobacco. Very smooth, elegant, sophisticated. And while it does have some sweetness, it's not like overbearing or overloaded with sweetness. And while you would wear this the same times as Boss Bottled Elixir, it doesn't smell the same as Boss Bottled Elixir. Bottled Elixir, kind of like Sauvage Elixir, leans more to the woody, spicy side of things. This one takes it more that sweet, warm, kind of ambery, tobacco leather vibe. Direction. I think it smells great. Really, really good, especially off the skin. That sounds like I'm a serial killer.
It smells great off the skin.
I just mean in comparison to a tester strip, man. Not like what you're thinking. Let's switch things up with Panache White from French Avenue / Fragrance World. Now, this is a fragrance in the style of Pacific Chill from Louis Vuitton. So it's kind of like that one. It's a very unique presentation. It looks kind of like a little boat. So yeah, like a little gravy boat or something like that, you know? You got a little sauce in there and just pour that out onto your meal. And it's kind of awkward to spray this. See, you gotta get like a weird hand grip going on there, but whatever. It's unique. Woo, it's strong too. For this type of fragrance, man, it pushes a lot when you first spray that on. Whew. Power. Power! Oh man. I'm like the anti-Jeremy fragrance with that level of power. It's super weak clap that makes my tester strip fly away and I just go, Power! So there's a boatload of citrus in this one when you first spray it on, like a whole mess load. Grapefruit, orange, mint, currant, ambroxan as it dries down. Also a little bit of musk. And while it's not dead on with Pacific Chill, like I said, it's in that vibe, in that style. It does have ramped up citrus to me, like a little more sweet citrus when you first spray this one on. And then that ambroxan giving you kind of a fresh woodsy dry down in here as well. Fantastic for spring and especially summer, early fall as well. Good daytime fragrance. Quality is great for the price point here. Only thing that I would caution you on is, as is typical with like cologne fragrances, when you first get this one, you may need to let it basically settle for a couple weeks. I know it sounds like the goofiest thing, the whole maceration thing, but this is one of those ones where when you first spray it on, it's not quite as good as it's gonna get. So, you know, give it a few sprays, give it some sniffs. And if you're thinking maybe, you know, that it's not rich enough or deep enough or what have you, go ahead and let that settle for a couple weeks and come back to it. Let's go with something more expensive next. Back to Black Aphrodisiac from by Killian, which has drawn comparisons to the more affordable 1821 man-made sweet tobacco spirits. It's a long name. 1821 is a little sweeter, a little more of like a syrupy kind of sweetness to that one. This one does have sweetness, but it's done in a richer way, maybe a little bit more bold, and it comes across multifaceted instead of just syrupy. It has a ton of notes. There's honey in here, there's tobacco, there's cherry, there's vanilla, there's raspberry, there are resins, there are woods, just a lot going on. You know, it's not one of those overly simplified 3-note note breakdowns that we get nowadays. This one has more going on just as far as the number of notes. And it just comes across a bunch of different ways, like a little bit powdery, a little bit smoky, woodsy, at times kind of has like an old-timey feel to it, but done in a more modern way. So when you smell it, you know, it may remind you of like things from years gone by. I'm not talking about fragrances even necessarily. It's hard to describe, it's just sometimes when I smell it, it makes me feel nostalgic in a way. But one thing to keep in mind with this one, it's potentially a little divisive, you know? It may work for you and it may not. And I know, it's like, thank you very much for that wonderful advice. It may work and it may not. Great, really rip-roaring. Good job. But what I mean is a lot of times with tobacco fragrances, specifically tobacco fragrances where you look at the note breakdown and it's like tobacco with sweet stuff and sweet stuff and sweet stuff, you think, okay, I know how this is gonna be, right? It's gonna be like a sweet honeyed pipe tobacco, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, so versatile during fall and winter, right? But this one has enough going on there that there are some facets here that just don't work for some people. But for those that it does work for, it is exquisite. Let's move forward to Mustache Eau de Parfum. Yes, we all know Mustache, right? This one right here smells similar to YSL's Tuxedo, only it is more affordable. At discounters nowadays, this is actually quite cheap. For a while, it was kind of expensive because it was hyped. Everybody was trying to scoop it up. There weren't enough bottles to go around, and that drove the price up. But eventually, it came into stock and stayed in stock. So the price went down and stabilized, which is where it is now. Now, I do have to point this out. If you are looking for Mustache and you don't really know any better and you see Mustache EDT and then EDP, and you think to yourself, well, it's probably the same thing, it's just one is a higher concentration, I'll just scoop up the EDT, whether it's because it's cheaper where you're looking, or maybe wherever you're looking, this one is sold out or something like that. Don't do that. They're two different fragrances. Very, very different. They don't smell alike at all. So Mustache Eau de Toilette, Mustache Eau de Parfum, two completely different things. Mustache Eau de Toilette is more in like the style of Dior Eau Sauvage Eau de Toilette, not YSL Tuxedo. So this one has benzoin, vanilla, pink pepper, and patchouli as some of the notes in the fragrance. Presentation looks good, very nice, very heavy in the hand. Absolutely fantastic for fall and winter time. A really nice formal fragrance as well as casual. Would make a nice elevated date night scent as well. Sexy, sophisticated, and sweet without going immature. After that one, I'm gonna go with Amber Absolutely from Fort and Manly. Now, this presentation style is no more. So if you look this up, it has a different style now. And I like the new style. I like how it looks. I like the old school more. These plaques on the front of their bottles were just fantastic looking. Really detailed, really looks elevated. Even if the bottle itself is kind of like a black painted stock bottle, the plaques on the front made it look so much better. And Amber Absolutely is very similar in name to Tom Ford's Amber Absolute, but the fragrance is quite different. So this one has plum, amber, rose, and black currant as some of the notes in the fragrance, along with benzoin in there as well, which is gonna combine together with that amber to kind of flesh out that resinous warmth that this one has. The plum gives it a nice, deep kind of fruity sweetness off the top that hits different than your more typical apple, grapefruit, bergamot, stuff like that. It's a unisex fragrance in my opinion. Women can pull this off as easily as men. Very nice performance with it. It is a little more elegant. It's a little bit more mature, but this is one of those fragrances that just smells like money. To me, this is like ultra sophisticated amber, extremely well done, and a beautiful presentation whether you get the old one or the new one. Let's switch gears to something completely different, Polo 67. I know for some people it's gonna be like sacrilege going from like these three to this one, but hey. Polo 67, I love. It's cheap. I mean, even at full retail, it's not very expensive. At discounters, even less so. It keeps going down at discounters, and hopefully, you know, it stays down there. That way more people can get it and wear it, and it's not gonna cost them all that much money. Pineapple, bergamot, sage, juniper, and vetiver, some of the notes in this fragrance. It's drawn comparisons to myself from Yves Saint Laurent, kind of in that overarching style, not the exact same as myself. The opening, really well done, very fresh. Yes, it's got pineapple and bergamot, and it does have some sweetness, but it's not, you know, face-meltingly sweet. It keeps things aromatic and classy, and that bit of sweetness that it has just helps lead people into the dry down. Extremely versatile. You can wear this whenever you want. Obviously, it's gonna be more of like a spring, summertime fragrance, but scents like this, if you're gonna be in somewhere that's like air conditioned all day or heated all day, wear it during the winter and just maybe spray a little bit more on. Big compliment puller as well. Love Polo 67. Then we're gonna go Intense Red Tobacco from Mancera, or depending on where you look, Red Tobacco Intense. It's got that upgraded Mancera presentation with a magnetic cap, so you know I love that. And then also a pressurized atomizer. That's a 2 for 2. Good job, Mancera. It's got a lot of notes going on here. It's got cinnamon, it has tobacco, it has leather, it has oud. There's also vanilla, pear, incense, other notes as well. It's a little smoother than the original Red Tobacco. You know, when you first spray this one out, it's not as aggressive, abrasive with that spicy mix that the original has, because that can turn a lot of people away. With Red Tobacco, most everybody agrees that the dry down is freaking sick. Like the dry down of Red Tobacco grabs attention, it lasts a long time, it smells amazing. But the opening for some people is just a deal killer because they don't want to spray that on and smell it and wait for the dry down. They're like, nah, that's okay, I'll find something else. This takes that opening and smooths it out a lot. Makes it more appealing, easier to wrap your head around. Even though it's intense, it's actually, like I said, easier to wear. Kind of like Spice Bomb Extreme. For a lot of people, Spice Bomb Extreme is easier to wear than the original Spice Bomb, even though it's extreme. Kind of the same idea going on here. And just like the original Red Tobacco has that amazing dry down, the vanilla in here really well done and helps kind of balance out some of those other stronger notes in there like the oud, the leather. And I'm gonna wrap it up with this one, the Scent Elixir. So 2 Hugo Bosses in here. And you remember what I was talking about? The whole dumbed down note breakdown thing? Red pepper, lavender, sandalwood. That's your note breakdown. We made it so close to having everything have more than 3 notes right up until the end. That being said, this stuff is fire during fall and winter time. It is sweet. It is sweet. So be aware of that. That's kind of the trend right now. Most everything is sweet nowadays. It's got kind of a vanilla feel to it, even though that's not in the note breakdown. It also has a touch of that the Scent Menenka vibe to it, even though that's not in the note breakdown. The lavender, very prominent, smells great. Again, very sweet, but at the same time has a classy edge to it. And the performance is very good as well. Maybe it gets overshadowed sometimes by some of the other more well-known Elixir fragrances out there, but this is a great Elixir release. So there we go, guys. Technically 11 different fragrances for you here today. Again, that sale is going on 48 hours. That's linked in the description. BF. BF is the code. Big something. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.